Who talks about Armada 2.0, I swear to God I will come for you.
Saying that they are surprise mechanics, and people love surprises.
And to get a Baneblade, the plastic Baneblade, to sell in the store at ROE Games, 19 Park Lane, Havelock. Come by, see us.
Aoski here, and this is By the Numbers.
This week we're going to be going over character creation for Wrath and Glory.
My name is Keith, or you can call me ArmorBoy21. That's my gaming deck. Today we're going to learn D&D.
Oh, hello there. Your armor, sir?
Whoa!
You take 7 points of damage.
Alright guys, we're rocking out really hard tonight. So what we got going on is Crease.
There will be swearing and or shenanigans of the adult nature.
God damn it!
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Gamer Interrupted. My name is AJ East Coast, and we are returning tonight with a special guest. Thank you for bearing with us the last couple of weeks, but tonight I have with us Mr. Jesse Olinger of ROE Games in Havelock, North Carolina. How you doing tonight, man?
Hello. Sorry, I'm getting a little connectivity issues here, but should be all right.
No problem, no problem.
Glad to be with you.
Thanks for coming by tonight. For those of y'all that don't know, if you just saw the video, Jesse was the one letting you know to come by the store and purchase some Beyblades. Jesse has been with us for a while. We've had a great partnership with ROE Games. Jesse, so I just wanted to start the interview tonight. You know, obviously you've been a part of us for a while now, and we always love having you by. So tell us a little bit about yourself, where you're from, and all that kind of stuff.
Well, I grew up in New Jersey, but I escaped.
Okay.
You think it's that easy? You know, many have tried to fail. In fact, the entire population.
Right.
I joined the military right out of high school. I joined the Marines. Started out, as driving amphibious tractors, and then decided to just stick around. And some people saw I was kind of smart, so I ended up switching over to Intel.
Oh wow! Okay.
And,
How long did you do Intel for?
Well, I did 22 years total, so the first 4 was driving Amtrak, so yeah, 18 years Intel. I mean, it was kind of boring, like driving Amtrak, shooting machine guns was fun and all, but then, I ended up sitting behind a computer and playing Where's Waldo. But the money was good. And,
Right.
And deployments were relatively safe. I ended up on a MIT team at one of my deployments training Iraqis that people consider that dangerous, but it wasn't that bad.
Right.
But, most of the time, I sit behind a desk. I was a pogue. But, I retired just about a year, August, so just over a year ago.
Wow, okay.
Just how long I've been retired for.
I was going to say, growing the hair out, doing the whole thing, yes. How's it been since you've been out now? And it's been a year, you said.
I mean, things have been great. I mean, like, I don't work.
Right.
I own a game store, but that's not work. That's fun. That's a hobby for me, and I make enough money between my pension and the game store that, hey, I'm good.
Well, yes, sir. It sounds like you're doing really well, and of course, thank you so much for your service. And not many people make it that far or put in the effort to go that far, but 20 years is a long time, and that's really incredible. That's very admirable for our listeners and our viewers. Enter the Gamer has always been a safe place for veterans. It is started by active duty military and continued to be run by veterans, and we've always really appreciated that. So thank you for your service. I just want to say that tonight.
Appreciate it.
So get some 808 also says thank you for your service, and he said Intel, let's go. So you said that you were on deployments and stuff like that. What did you do to kind of keep you yourself busy? Was it video gaming? Was it more, other stuff? Kind of give us a little thing to, to take the edge off when you had time off.
Yeah, well, when you're deployed, there is no time off. There's
Right.
you're working like 15-hour. Should be supposed to be 12-hour shifts. So of course, something's always screwed up that turnover. You gotta spend extra time.
Somebody lost a tool or something.
On deployment, it was just 7 days a week, get up, go, do my job, and but that my job was kind of like playing a video game. I just sit there and analyze all the different feeds from the different aircraft and stuff coming in. So
wow.
But in between deployments, I ended up buying the store. Well, my first deployment gave me just such a ridiculous amount of money that I bought my house in cash in full. I didn't take a loan, and then I bought 25% of Rules of Engagement games. This was this 2006 or 7.
Okay.
Not really sure. I know the store opened November 2004. Store's been there since November 2004, and I was stationed at Cherry Point when the store opened. I just started hanging out there all the time because it's a game store, and I do some video games here and there, but I really prefer tabletop gaming.
So I was going to say,
I'm an antisocial person, but the store it's a place for antisocial people to socialize.
I was going to say, so ROE, they offer a lot of tabletops. You guys sell figurines, cards. Could you explain for people that aren't really too familiar with that kind of store?
Yeah, it's about 2/3 of our square footage is just big giant tables.
Okay.
So only 1/3 of the store actually has retail products for sale. The rest of the store is just it's for playing, and we don't charge for the tables. Right now we got whole issues right now with having large amounts of people in the store, but
of course,
that's our issue. But you just come hang out. I mean, right now it's a problem, but we'll figure it out.
Right. I was going to ask you this later, but since we brought it up now, how has the pandemic and the global bastard coronavirus affected ROE Games and yourself and your business partners and things like that, starting from the beginning, right in March?
Yeah, financially, it hasn't.
Okay.
The only pain we felt, I think, I can't remember. It was March. I know it was April. The whole month of April, the doors were closed. We were shut down.
Right.
So but because the store is so profitable, we had enough money already saved up to cover rent and bills for that month.
Great.
And when we opened up in May, it was like open the floodgates. We had such high sales that month, even though we didn't have anybody in. We basically had the table area shut down, like roped off. We didn't have anybody playing, but like anybody coming in because most of them were getting paint because they're all out of their paint. They've been stuck at home painting the models that they did get before we shut down, and they were out of paint. But it was numbers.
Oh, I think we might have lost him there. A little connection issue. Just bear with us here. Oh, there we go.
I can hear you.
All right. Yep. Just lost you a little bit there. Sorry. What were you saying again?
I get some bad connectivity issues because I live right next to one of the flight lines.
No problem.
All right. What was I saying? Financially, we're good. We're still making a lot of sales. There is some issues with the supply chain. A lot of our distributors and new product coming out, new releases is bad. It's whatever date we see on whatever company, whether it's Asmodee, Fantasy Flight Games, or Games Workshop, or Warlord, or any other companies that we get our product from. Whatever their date says, we just can't. I don't believe it. We can't believe it because everything keeps getting delayed, and then once it does get shipped, and we have problems with shipping is slow right now. But we got some new stuff. Warhammer 40K 9th edition just dropped last month or the start of this month, and wow, it's been great.
Yeah, we've seen
complaining about it. Everybody's loving the game.
We've seen the large amount of popularity definitely for the new Warhammer. Definitely come across pretty much. For me, I noticed a lot of people that really weren't into Warhammer before probably heard from other people, and I've seen like a new spike of Warhammer people. Have you noticed that at the store of people coming in and purchasing it more or playing it more?
Slightly. There's the amount of people playing it has been pretty consistent, and it's a lot of old players that, that usually are salty about new editions, but they've picked it up, they've looked at it, they've played a few games of it, and they're happy with it. There actually are some people like showing up that have never played, and they're like, hey, heard about this game, well, and it's like, hey, I can help you out. I can show you how to get started. There's also another game that's been out a while from Games Workshop called Kill Team.
Okay.
It is the gateway drug because it is like,
Why do you say that?
The game plays with like a small team, like so 4, 5, 6 guys on the table.
Okay.
Vice your whole Warhammer 40K army. You're talking probably like 20. A typical game, you're talking about like probably like 20 individual models, and then plus tanks and transports and a bunch of other stuff, and it's pretty intense. And some armies you're looking thousands of models, like if you play Tyrannus. Whereas Kill Team, it's a small unit tactic game.
Okay.
So it's the gateway drug because it's the same models. It's almost the same rules. There's a few tweaks here and there, but the rules scale up to Warhammer 40K real easy. So you're getting a lot of new people coming in. It's like, hey, try this. Try Kill Team. If you like that, you got one. You've already started. You have some
move on
models
to the other stuff, right?
40K, and then we'll tell you what you need to get and to move on up to 40K. So great, great marketing from Games Workshop. Okay. I really hope they don't screw it up like they did with Warhammer Fantasy, but Warhammer Age of Sigmar, when it took over, everybody hated it, but it's slowly coming back. But if you come to the store, I guarantee you, any given weekend, somebody is there willing to play 40K with you.
Right, and it seems like the store that you guys have put on, you've built a very positive, sense of community for people to come and browse your items and play and learn the different games, and that's pretty awesome, man. I really appreciate you doing that for people. So what are some of the roles that you take on personally at the store? Really, I just sit behind the register. And if I'm not behind the register, I'm painting some models. Sometimes we get some demo sets in. We got to work on those, but it's basically me and my business partners just kind of, take a share. My business partner that owns the majority of the store, he does all the hard work, the ordering and the paperwork and stuff, and I just try to help out where I can and right.
So promote games.
With someone that's kind of unfamiliar with analog or with the tabletop stuff, what is your advice to someone as they're coming into this style of games?
Really just find what, get to know the people that are playing. Like, in a lot of games that like this, it's just over competitive scene, like Magic. I sell packs of Magic cards, but that's about it. I don't go any further than that. There's 2 other stores in the town that do Magic, so you know what, they can keep that scene because there's a lot of toxic players, over competitive players in that game, and all games have that. It's just we try to keep it friendly in the store,
right? Keep as positive as possible.
So it's like if I'm going to play somebody that's just as their first time playing, I'm not going to go easy, but what I'm probably going to do is take something that hasn't really worked well, like a different. I'm going to take a list that I'm going to take a list that's kind of experimental, that doesn't really work well, just to see how it works. But I try to make sure the really competitive people aren't really messing with aren't seal clubbing.
Right. Okay. Yeah. So it seems like new players definitely.
That's the thing. Just know the people you're playing.
Yeah. So definitely, get to know the people you're playing with, and to definitely build a sense of camaraderie while you're playing. My next question for you was
that's the way I see it. Like every game you play, you should get better.
Right. My next question for you was.
Sorry, what was that?
My next question was, how did you start coming into Enter the Gamer and doing stuff with us? Could you give us a little bit of background for those that aren't too familiar? I mean, personally, me, I was still overseas when all the the shifting of Enter the Gamer coming back from Japan and now into North Carolina, And tell us, how did you guys start this relationship?
It was all Dan. Doc Shippey, he came in because that me being in the local game store, he got stationed at Cherry Point, so he came, being a gamer, he came looking for the game store, and it was like, hey, I got lots of stuff going on here, and I don't, you want to film it, you want to use it, make content out of it, that's awesome. The only thing I ask is you just give me a plug. So,
Right.
Come down and visit us, Rules of Engagement Games, 19 Park
Quick
Lane,
plug.
North Carolina.
Yes, quick plug. So were you doing any kind of like studio stuff back then? Because we've seen you in the intro video. Was that the extent of your video career, or?
I had messed around. I tried to do a few Facebook Live things of like Star Wars X-Wing events, but the bandwidth in the store is atrocious, and we're not going to pay Spectrum any more money. I mean, we're a game store. Yeah, we're profitable. We make a lot of money, but it's a game store, so
Right.
it's not that much money. So our package with the local provider is pretty slow. So it didn't really work out that well. But then once, like Dan started coming in, it's like, hey, you want to do it, you can do it. I mean, I have a bunch of these, cheap little webcams and stuff. You want to bring your own stuff in here, we can set it up. We'll try to run a stream. If not, just record it and we'll post it up somewhere later.
Right.
That's the thing. He was looking, I think he was interested mostly in like X-Wing, and he started playing a little bit of Armada. X-Wing's great. It's a short game. It's, you get 60 minutes is about a match. That's about what it takes. So unlike, a big 40K game is going to take hours and hours, but, we try to do, what we can. If you can get a video or something, unless you got to edit it down, chop it up. It's not that easy.
So were you guys just, filming the X-Wing games? Were you doing, or were you filming other people playing or tournaments?
Yeah, that's how it started. We started with an X-Wing tournament, and then he wanted to do some discussion type stuff, so that's when we started the Salt Mines. That's really kind of how the whole thing began. I mean, I didn't know nothing about. I don't really know nothing about the production side of things, but Dan's been doing that for a while, so I was just like, I'm here. You know my hours. I'm here. You need me. I'll get behind the camera. I'll talk.
Yeah, we definitely miss Dan, and we hope that he's staying safe and all that. But he's definitely been great at reaching out and networking, and we're really excited to have you guys still on board after all this time, and hopefully continue to keep going forward. But yeah, man, we definitely definitely anytime. But moving on now, some of the what were some of the
we tried to do.
Go ahead.
We tried to do the Tabletop Necromancer show, but then now Dan's gone. Mm-hmm. I don't know if he comes back or if somebody else wants to try to come pick up the mantle on it. But I have all these. I don't know if you can see behind me. That pile of boxes is a bunch of old games that are in my. They're all dead games, and I like, hey, I got these games. It's like, hey,
you want to give them a shot? Yeah,
let's just, like I kind of, watching like shows like Toy Galaxy,
okay.
And that guy talking about bringing out these old toys and stuff, and I was like, hey, I got all these old games. I can bring out these old games, and we can discuss them and the history of them, what they were about, why they died, and then let's play the game. Let's get this stuff on the table, and we did one episode, and then Dan's gone, and
yeah,
the idea is still out there, and I'm still willing to do it if anybody else wants to try to step up. I'm not going to do the production work though. I'm retired. I'm too lazy for that.
Yeah, you got to keep growing the hair and all that.
Yeah.
Well, yes, sir. Definitely. We'll definitely look forward to some future Necromancer stuff. But moving on from that, I wanted to get just a little bit more background about you. So, as a kid, were you introduced directly into, analog and tabletop, or was it, do you have the SNES and then you went over? Give us a little background on that.
I mean, I'm pretty old. I'm actually, I'm 41. I don't know if I look it or not, but
definitely don't.
As a
definitely
kid,
don't.
I played Nintendo, and then I had a Super Nintendo as as a teenager. I also was kind of, I was kind of a nerdy kid in high school. And
as we all are,
played a lot of I played a lot of Dungeons and Dragons growing up, so that put me into the whole gamer scene, not necessarily video gamer. I did play video games, but into the whole the gamer scene, playing Dungeons and Dragons. Hence why everywhere I've been in the military, it's like that's when I check in somewhere that night, I'm like, okay, let's find a game store.
Let's find a game store. Let's figure it out, right?
Which where I've been out in Okinawa. That's pretty cool. They got some good stuff there. I was usually playing mostly Magic there, and playing D&D in the barracks rec room, and then playing Magic with some other guys. There's a nice little store on Gate 2 Street. I love it because it's just piled up with so much crap. It's like a treasure hunt. You gotta find what you're looking for. It's a tiny store that probably has 3 times the amount of product that I have.
Wow. What did they do? Just leave it?
Space.
Did they just leave it all over the walls and the shelves and stuff like that? Like.
Oh yeah. Or in boxes and piled up in the corners and stuff. Yeah.
Wow.
I don't know if it's still there. This is back 2002. So when I was in Okinawa. It was on Gate 2 Street, right outside Kadena. That was like the games were there. I know you got Hobby Chest down in Jacksonville. Every time I've been at Camp Lejeune, Hobby Chest is awesome. Like he's that we really get along well with them. He has everything, and I tell people when people come to my store, they're like, I'm looking for this. I'm like, I can't get it.
Right.
Go down to Jacksonville, go to Hobby Chest. They're like, no, I've been there. He doesn't have it. I'm like, no, he has it. You just haven't found it. Because he's the same deal. He's got everything piled up, but he has it.
It's there, right?
The paintbrush I use, because I'm kind of an OCD painter, I use a tiny paintbrush that I don't even carry in my store. But I will drive down to Jacksonville every couple months
just to grab the new paintbrushes.
Because he has them. Because he has everything.
Wow.
He doesn't have the amount of gaming area I have though. So.
Would you say that
that's why
that you guys have a good
come hang out up here in Havelock?
Would you say a lot of the gaming stores have good relationship with each other? Are you guys doing partnerships and
For the most part, I mean some of the stores in Havelock kind of annoyed me, but we're not really in a direct competition because they focus on the card games. I don't.
Right.
We're pretty happy, and we're not losing any business to them.
Well, definitely, I wanted to have you by, to try and get people to understand that there is there is another world than, the digital, behind the console, behind the PC. There is another world out there, and I think a lot of the times people tend to forget that. And for me personally, I got introduced to Pokemon cards and Yu-Gi-Oh cards and stuff like that. That was about the expertise I knew of it, because I think for me, I saw the digital and it just didn't click for me. And I think that happened for a lot of people. But now, in hindsight, and especially as a game designer, I'm looking into these now because I regret not focusing more on that aspect of the game, of gaming. And to have someone from your expertise that has been around this, you pretty much your entire life. It's I'm sure you could agree with me that this is sometimes a forgotten part of our side of games.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, that's the thing. If you're curious, go to a game store. Somebody will talk to you. I know they're going to be a little standoffish because, again, they're antisocial people, but.
Well, I was going to say, down here in Florida, and our Orlando listeners and our Full Sail listeners and viewers, if you head over to Campus Cards and Games, they're just everything that Jesse has explained tonight. They're basically identical, and I definitely want to have him by as well. But I've always just been very envious of the community that you guys are able to build within the tabletop community, because people just come, and I've walked by stores and it's packed, it's full, you can't get in the place. Not currently, of course,
I wish we
but.
Could get back to those days. Yeah, there was a time when I was like, you better come here early on a Saturday or else you may get in the table. And I have a lot of tables and a lot of space. Nowadays, though, there's issues. I mean, right now, people come in the store. I'm not going to say anything. I'm going to let them play. Mm-hmm. But if good old Walter Peck from the EPA comes in and says you got to shut this down, I'll be like, no, those aren't my customers. Those are protesters. And no, I'm not going to throw them out. They might throw a brick through my window.
Well, that's a different view to look at that one, of course. But no, I definitely I have 100% faith that you are taking care of the precautions that you need to make sure that your players and new customers are remaining safe. Uh-oh. Looks like we might have lost him for a second. Oh no. Looks like we lost Jesse. Let me cut to myself for a second here. Jesse, if you could still hear us, just let me know. Looks like he might be completely out. Well, in the meantime, if we see if we can get a hold of Jesse, I will go ahead and start with our news topics, and if he's able to connect back in. Oh, looks like we got him. There we are.
Oh, there we go.
All right.
Yeah. Sorry about that. I do have connection problems.
No problem.
Yeah, no, what I was saying, the D&D groups, because you have a lot of people piled into the same table, packed in tight. So we haven't had that. That's right now we can't allow. So if you play Dungeons & Dragons, do it in your living room. Sorry, I know we have much better facility, but
it's the world we have to adjust to right now.
The one-on-one games we can do because we get a lot. We have the tables moved around strategically. There's enough room. So you can, we can spread you out, and it's just two people across the table. That's fine.
Right. Well, we definitely appreciate you making sure that your people are safe. We'd like to finish our interview portion here and move on to the news, if that's all right with you. I know you have some news in terms of new tabletop stuff releasing. I know we spoke about Warhammer before. What else do you have for us?
Well, I just got word from Warlord Game. There's been a game called Victory at Sea. It's actually an old game from Mongoose. Warlord got the rights to it and reproduced it. Finally got word that it shipped. So, we've been waiting forever for this. I don't know if you can post a picture up from here. I got the demo set that I painted up.
Not from my end, no, but we'll definitely throw it up there when we have the chance.
Okay.
Yeah.
We should have that next weekend. I'm probably not gonna make it this weekend because we just got word that it shipped. So it should be by next weekend. And World War II ships got great looking models. They're kind of small, but the detail for such small models is amazing. And
I've always been fascinated
a lot of people
by
were
that.
excited about it. So.
I've always been fascinated by that.
A lot of
people to be able to create these little miniature models.
Yeah, painting them up can be pretty tough, but I know some techniques that make it real easy. Everyone looks at these little tiny models and how do you get into that detail? It's like, there's tricks. Dry brushing. It's pretty easy. But I got a lot of people play World of Warships too that hang out at my store. So it's great to get that video game now actually into a physical analog tabletop game is going to be pretty cool.
Yeah, we're definitely looking forward to that.
Hopefully, we get the new stuff from for the Fantasy Flight game, Star Wars series. There's a lot of new Legion stuff coming out. The Inferno Squadron.
I read about that. Yeah.
God, don't know exactly when that's going to actually hit our shelves, but it's on its way. It'll be soon, really. And more importantly, I can't get any Phase 2 clone troopers. Everybody's asking for those. Hopefully, those come back into stock too. The transport ships, the LAT gunship coming for X-Wing, that should be in the next week or two.
How much, for people that aren't really familiar with it, how much are usually these things cost?
Okay, so it varies. Okay, so $40K, you're looking at probably $50 for enough to get to field an actual a really small game, maybe 500 points. You're probably going to go anywhere from $50 to $75 to get enough units for that. But I know it's expensive. Everyone says, well, Magic's cheaper. It's long-term cost. Once you get a set of models for $40K, 99% of the time they stay relevant. They change rules here. Every couple of years they change the rules, but most of the time those units are still the same, and the models are still going to be the same. So.
How often
big initial investment, but long-term wise, you should be all right.
Okay.
For Star Wars X-Wing, the ships range about $20, and Depends on what you like to play. I mean, like, the bigger ships are a little more expensive. You get up to like $40. But if you're playing like, quality over quantity, you could probably get a good tournament ready list for, just over $100.
Okay, so
there's actually articles on web tournament and actually good tournament list for $100. So, that exists. I prefer flying TIE fighters because I'm an asshole. It's a lot more expensive.
For the Empire.
Actually, shows up in this squadron won last year's regional, or the world championship last year, and they're going to fly that. I'm like, oh, okay, sure. I go pull out my 8 TIE fighters. We need a little like video clip of from Rogue One of the shield door where the disc, the tie's coming out. I'm like, you gonna play that crap? Okay, because personally, I think that's the most powerful thing in the game is flying a ridiculous like 8 ship swarm list. But the problem is when you go to a big tournament, you got to play like 6, 7, 8 games that day. After like the 4th one, you're done. You are trying to manage that many ships on the table. You're
too much.
Your brain's fried.
It's too overwhelming, right?
And then Armada's probably the more expensive out of the 3 between Legion. Legion, I don't know. I don't play Legion because I already played 3K, and I'm only going to play one game where I got to paint stuff. The X-Wing Armada, you got to paint. So, Legion, I don't play it, so I can't really gauge the prices. It seems to be kind of in the middle, but Armada's definitely the high end because those ships are big and they're expensive, especially when you look at the Superstar Destroyer, which by itself is a $200 retail product.
Final question for you with the board games. What is the most expensive item that you have in your store?
Right now, I would say it's that Superstar Destroyer, that $200. I did have, but it was bought recently, I did have a Warhammer 40K Khorne Lord of Skulls. I believe that was $250.
Wow, okay. All right. Well, moving on now to the news topics, we have the first thing I wanted to speak about. DC did a lot of stuff this weekend, and in particular, we have the Batman movie that is going to be released, and that is going to be starring Robert Pattinson. We saw the trailer this weekend of him. Looks like he was beating the crap out of someone like they owed him money. And for that, I would definitely like to officially apologize to Robert Pattinson because I judged the shit out of you. I immediately thought that, you were a vampire, and now you want to be a Batman. I didn't make the connection. But for me, I feel like, the Caped Crusader is in pretty good hands at this point, and I think I'm pretty excited to see what he does with the character. They talked a lot about how they want to focus a lot on the detective comics, which I've always been a huge fan of. Batman, in my opinion, is one of the best superheroes in the world just because of the ability of him being the greatest detective. So for me, Batman has changed quite a bit. I was born into it. I saw Val Kilmer as the first Batman. And then, of course, I saw Christian Bale and then Ben Affleck and all this. But I'm hoping that it just kind of this one is good enough that we can just continue on. Of course, they're always going to make remakes, but I hope that we can get a good continuation of the story. How do you feel about that, Jesse?
That's cool. And I do feel about DC though is like, let's go. Where's the game?
Right.
Because Crisis Protocol is a thing, and it's actually a popular game with Marvel, with the Marvel license. Come on, DC, give somebody the license. Let's make a game. Come on, let's get some models. Let's get some figurines.
Right. Yeah, go right into it. Into the board games. Right.
Great way to promote your movies. I know, with the Star Wars stuff, the Star Wars movies were forcing Fantasy Flight Games to push out their product at a time when they weren't ready for it yet and screwed things up. But still, because they were forcing them to promote the movie. You're gonna put some movies out. Let's get some freaking games out. It ties in really well.
Ayoski in the chat says, "Oh yes, Detective Comics." Well, speaking more of DC, Jesse, we also saw that they're releasing a new video game, and the trailer started with Batman being presumed dead, and Nightwing picks up the bat signal, and from then on, it showed us 3 other characters that we got: Batgirl, Red Hood, and Robin himself. And it looks like it looked really cool. This is, for me, the first time that I've seen all 4 of these characters together in a video game sense. For how do you feel? Are you excited about this one? You know, some of the different characters that you're able to explore now beyond the Batman and the Joker and stuff like that.
It sounds like it sounds like a good game. It's just I'm not really big into that video games that much, but I mean, if it makes for good content to watch, like, you know, I do watch a lot of like Achievement Hunter and Neebs and Funhouse and those guys. So hey, that sounds like it might be fun to watch.
It definitely seems pretty entertaining. I'm definitely looking forward to it. Some other news this weekend. Speaking of some interesting weekend, we've mentioned them before. The World Wrestling Entertainment, our neighbors, and sometimes they do some crazy stuff. Sometimes they do some offensive stuff. Sometimes they do some cool stuff. And this happened to be one of the cool things this weekend. They happened to put on a virtual fan experience for people to come in and watch their pay-per-view over live feed, and they were then broadcasted into the arena, allowing for then other people that were watching from home could see them on the TV at the same time that they were viewing the wrestlers. For me, I wasn't positive though if they were getting the same viewing that I was, or if they were getting something different. I couldn't really tell, but overall, it was an interesting way to adapt to the changes and bring in fans to a sport that I personally believe is nothing without its fans.
Is that like the upgrade of the cardboard cutout now?
I guess so, yeah. They had, Jesse, it was kind of crazy. They took the entire Amway Center and on the left-hand side just stacked it full of plasma TVs. There had to have been, if I would have guessed, maybe about 450 TVs in there.
I guess it prevents people from doing the trolling thing where they send in like some goofy stuff on the cardboard cutout.
Right.
Like I think I saw a picture of like Bernie, Weekend at Bernie's. Bernie from Weekend at Bernie's sitting in one of the seats.
Right, yeah. But yeah, you know, other sports are doing what they can to, you know, I've seen teddy bears put out in the audience and things like that. But, you know, this definitely gives us a little sense of normalcy, I think. And my question to you is, do you foresee this being the normal for other events, not just sporting, maybe music, esports, things like that?
Oh, I hope not. I really hope this is just temporary.
I do as well.
And you know, you do what you can to get through it. You know, you don't want to just up and like end the sport. That's things don't come back from that. So just, you know, I get they're doing this kind of stuff now just to get through it, but it better not be the norm. Like,
I hope so not. I hope that one day,
I know, like I said, I've said it many times. I'm an antisocial person, but there's just some things. It's like you just got to go do in person.
That's right.
Like, you know, like I hate on D20. I know, but you know, some people do it, or Roll20. I hate on Roll20, but you know, do what you got to do. But you got to play a role playing game like that. You got to be, you know, sitting across from each other.
You have to have interaction.
Physical
yeah.
Books, physical papers, physical character sheets. So. Yeah, and you know, when you start getting into the online stuff, well, eventually, if things keep progressing and they're gonna, you know, make all these different tools and software to play D&D like this online with somebody, and eventually it's just go play an MMORPG. You're playing World of Warcraft. You're not playing D&D anymore.
Mm-hmm. You're not, and I agree with you. It does take away from that aspect of, you know, and plus sometimes, you know, that when you're in the environment of everyone in the room, you know, creativity starts to spark, different things start to happen. You know, you're not getting that from behind Roll20, you know. But moving on to my next topic, we have 5 million people played the Avengers beta since their download. I personally got a chance to put some hands on it last week from the PlayStation. It was an interesting game. Like I've said before on the stream a couple times, I think this is a little too late for me personally with the movies, because I think the high and the adrenaline rush and the sadness and everything that Avengers Infinity War and Endgame were, I fear that it's not going to be put into this game, and I hope that it does. But we didn't get to see much. You know, we got to explore some of the characters. You got running around the Hulk, Captain America. You got to see some of their cool animations, and I also made sure, my friend asked me, he's like, how do you play a game where you're a god? I was like, well, let's find out. Obviously you can't kill Thor, but I still took enough damage where he dropped to a knee and, the game restarted and things like that. How do you feel about the Avengers and going into this outlet? Do you think it's too late, or do you think we're on topic here?
No, I think it's fine,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I grew up in a time when we were getting like Star Wars video games constantly, but it'd been decades since Star Wars movie came out, so it's fine. You make a good game, You tie it to an IP. Yeah, you might sell a little bit more because of that, but just
well, we'll
games are going to survive on their quality. Just IPs are just secondary. But I mean, that's what we have. Crisis Protocol in the store, and people are doing fine with that. Although I'm a little disappointed that they went with a lot of the comic book. The sculpts are from the comic book, so when I got a Drax in, I'm looking at it, I'm like, this looks nothing like Bautista.
Flying Anchors in the chat says Stormtrooper enjoyed the baseball game, although he couldn't catch any fly balls.
Oh, that's good. They need to put like a whole battalion of them out there.
I was thinking they should do like a scoreboard to see if a home run goes through the center, stuff like that. I think that'd be interesting. That's me just always thinking like a game designer. But we talked about this beforehand, a little bit about the Karate Kid, and you mentioned that you had seen.
I do. I love that show.
You had mentioned that you'd seen Cobra Kai on YouTube, but now we're going to see Cobra Kai into Netflix. And on top of that, we're going to also get a supplemental video game to go along with Cobra Kai. Could you tell us a little bit about Cobra Kai for people that aren't too familiar with it?
I mean, Cobra Kai is great. It's basically it's the karate adult,
right?
But it's taken the bad guy kid from the movies and like seeing his adult life now, and now he's reopening the whole dojo and stuff, and then of course the Karate Kid sees it, and they kind of start having a bit of a karate dojo market war. It's great though. It's hilarious. There's a lot of things that just kind of poke at like my generation. Like I love the one. There's one line where he's trying to do a commercial for the dojo, and he's like, "Hey, put Thunderstruck on this." And the high school girl that's helping him with it, she's like, "You can't. We can't afford that." He's like, "No, I already own it. It's in the tape deck in my car." I love that kind of stuff.
Right.
But if you're on Netflix, come on. Look, I'm already paying YouTube because I wanted to watch Cobra Kai. I'm paying Disney because I wanted to watch Mandalorian. Now I gotta go pay. Come on.
Well, I'm hoping that
can we just get like cable? Just get cable. Like cable. Like I pay one thing and watch whatever I want. Come on.
Jesse wants to go back to normal. But I hope with it, Jesse, that we're going to see, maybe a second season, some more seasons that Netflix, they like to do that when they pick up shows from other places. But with the video game side of it, we didn't really get too much detail on it. For me, sorry?
How are they going to do a video game? Is LJN going to do this? What the hell?
I don't know. That's what I'm saying. I wish we had more details, and I'm definitely going to be following the story, but are we getting a fighting game, or is it going to be, their usual top-down, look at it, freaking shit that they usually do with Netflix games? I don't know. I don't know, but
side-scroller. Because you already have that.
It could be a shitty side. It most likely will be a shitty side-scroller, probably.
Impossible to beat because that stupid storm.
Well, Jesse, are you familiar with the game Fall Guys at all?
I've seen some of the YouTube people like Achievement Hunter play it. Well, it looks like a fun game.
It definitely is. It's a very new take on Battle Royale. I've given praise on it before, 2 weeks ago, the last stream that we did. I just want to say congratulations to the developers and everyone on that team, because they did officially break the record for the most PlayStation Plus downloads, and that's incredible because it's such a simple game. It's the basic mechanics, but it's so fun. It has incredible replayability. So, kudos to them. And a good thing for Sony, Jesse, that they put out something like this and, you know, attracted this much popularity.
That's huh. I mean, yeah, it looks like such a like nice little simple game, you know.
Very simple, yeah.
I think because it reaches out to so many markets, because it's it seems so, you know.
Well, we've got the kids,
easy to pick up.
We got the kids, you know. We've got people that enjoy battle royales. We've got you know average gamers. You got people that are going into it hardcore. They're playing it all the time. They want to get all the crowns. They want to get all the skins and all that stuff. For me, I think it's just a game that's just for everybody. You can pick it up. You don't really have that much skill. It's easy to learn. And I'm really looking forward to some more content with it. I think that Halloween coming up, they could do some cool stuff like that. I'm asking personally for a Macho Man Randy Savage Fall Guy. So whoever needs to make that happen, let's make sure that we make that happen. Or at least a Hulk Hogan or something. But yeah, so some other, some interesting news that also came out this weekend. The Samsung finally released their gaming phone that a lot of people have been looking forward to. Highly customizable. You can play Xbox Game Pass, about 100 games on the go on your phone from this controller. And, you don't need anything else besides the phone, the controller, and the internet connection.
Does it look like a phone, or does it look like a PSP?
It looks like a phone, yeah. It looks just like a basic flat phone, and it has a stylus and everything. It's different colors. It's pretty big. I got to look at it in Best Buy. I didn't get too much to look at it because the social distancing. They had people looking at it, and I saw it from afar. So it's about the same size as the iPhone 11. But yeah, you connect this thing to the specialized Xbox controller, and as long as you have Game Pass subscription, you're in it, man. You're playing games on the go. And much more than, the crap that the Tap puts out a lot of the times. Mm-hmm. Do you play much of the mobile games, or is it kind of just not your thing? Definitely ask Doc.
I got a phone that barely works, that barely does what I need to do. I play video games. I play it on my laptop.
Right.
I say mostly World of Warships, and then 7 Days to Die are pretty much the only games that I've played recently. So unfortunately, I don't have a good, I used to play 7 Days to Die with the people in my old office before I retired, but now I'm not a boss of people that I can force to play video games with me. So
right.
I don't have.
Well, our final release information that we got this weekend, we've got Call of Duty Cold War, and they did this kind of interesting. They put it. Sorry, I got some heartburn. Oh, excuse me. They put the event in the Warzone game, and players had to go find it. And once they found it, they were able to see the trailer. Obviously, you can watch it now on YouTube and stuff like that. But you see Call of Duty Cold War, and it looks like we're the Black Ops Cold War, I should say, and we're moving on from everything that we know of Call of Duty, and we're going backwards a little bit. But it looked great. I'm really excited to see the continuation from Black Ops 1. I'm also really excited because if you aren't familiar, in Black Ops 1, they recreated JFK, and they did a great job, I think. It was a little eerie, especially hearing his voice through the headphones. But this time, they also created Reagan for the Cold War one, and I got to tell you, that was even more eerie because it just looked exactly like him, and the voice, everything. Yeah, so we'll definitely see Reagan in the game.
That gives me an idea. I think Warlord needs to take bolt action and take it to the Cold War.
Mm-hmm.
Bolt action's a World War II miniature game. It's, you got your troops and stuff. I think it'd be cool to just push it up into the Cold War.
Yeah.
Get into, start getting the more modern equipment.
Well, I'm sure that with people, going to have the popularity behind the Cold War game, we're probably going to see some more Cold War content, from my opinion.
Just hope that, they don't have controversy issues about everybody hating, with it hating on communism.
Right. Another news topic. We have High Score. The documentary was released about video games. It's, I think, 6 episodes, if I'm not mistaken. And Netflix here, they did a good job, and they described video games as a historical art form, and the people that were behind it, I don't think that they knew what they were creating at the time. For example, one of the episodes, and I'm going to go into too much detail, one of the episodes talks about Doom and how, he revolutionized video games in a historical aspect, because that was the first time that anyone was able to do any of that stuff. And now it's just common. You hop on, you plug it in, and there you go. You don't even have to pay money for a lot of games. But, these guys, they did something truly incredible. And this documentary kind of outlines that, and it shows different things. It goes back to, arcade games, and they talk about when people were modding arcade games and how people, how they started modding that. And a lot of the stuff that I was watching as a game designer, and for our game design folks that listen and watch, you'll start to understand things that you just didn't think were possible before. And then once they explain it, it kind of snaps in your head. You're like, holy shit, that's how they did this. Like, for me, I didn't know that, they opened the back of an arcade cabinet and that's how they made the mod. And that was the whole game right there. I'm just super blown away by that, Jesse, in the historical aspect. Do you remember, going to the arcades and stuff like that? Is that something that you miss?
Throw pump quarters into Mortal Kombat and Street Fighter 2 constantly.
And you were there for, those games, they had good playability. You could just play them for a long time, especially if you were good at them.
Yeah. Well, there was always that kid, though, that fucking just kicked everybody's ass and then, showed up and, all right, everybody just step back and watch him beat the game. Don't try to play him. He'll kick you or don't.
Just watch him play, yeah.
But, yeah,
it'd be, it's
times back then. Just, you could go to the mall and, just not, you're not going shopping. You just go to the mall. You go to the arcade. You hang out.
Right.
Do
You
things
chill
like
with
that.
people, right.
Malls are dying for many reasons, but, really there's no reason for people to hang out there. Even without COVID, there's no reason for people to go hang out at the mall, so...
Well, definitely for our listeners and viewers, I definitely suggest you head out and check out High Score and appreciate what these guys have done, and you'll definitely have your mind blown. We also got the release of Madden 21. It's that time of year, Jesse. All the sports games are doing it again. You got FIFA coming and basketball, and year after year, but apparently this time around it wasn't, with people playing in the early access and things like that, people aren't receiving this as well as they have before. And I personally have seen some bugs and some pretty intense crashes for things that, considered to be a caliber, the big show of a video game, that, to have those kind of bugs and crashes is a little concerning for me, but we'll see how it goes.
Like that.
Right.
You make the same exact game every year. You figured at this point you would have all the bugs worked out. It's not. I don't know.
Well, I'm hoping that.
Weird, but
I'm hoping that
they're going to have a season.
I'm hoping that that a lot of people that were playing the early access, they were basically play testing and beta testing for these guys, and I'm hoping that they found everything that they need to find, and that the rest of the season, people. I think that they'll enjoy the game from how it is, because they're not able to see football in a traditional sense. You don't hear the screaming crowds and all that stuff. And for hardcore fans to be able to experience that at home still, I think is very important. And for people to have that sense of normalcy, at least when they like to, Americans love sports and Americans love football and Americans love to, attach themselves for a prideful thing, and people still do it. And Matt brings me to my next point, is that I'm a big Pats fan, and Madden gave Pats a 79 rating, and that's, Doc would have to agree with me that that's a sin. So, but we'll see. Definitely some interesting gameplay, and I did see some interesting changes and stuff like that that made it point out a little different from the previous years. But for me, unless I'm going to be the hardcore gamer, and I'm not going to run out and buy it year after year. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Well, Jesse, that is the end of all of... Oh, sorry, go ahead, say that.
It has its fan base. I understand people that are going to buy it year after year. It's a keep up with the stuff going on. It's not for me, but hey, I get it.
Right. Well, Jesse, that is the end of our topics for tonight. Thank you so much for coming by and talking and getting to know you. Like I said before, I didn't get to know you from this side of working with Enter the Gamer from, I was still overseas and things like stuff. So it's really been great to meet you and understand a little bit more of the story, and definitely give us some great insights on the tabletop world, and which I think a lot of young players are still not familiar with at this point.
Well, hey, it's been a pleasure. I'm always available. You have me on Discord now. You got me on Facebook. If you have questions, you need any help, if you getting into developing more tabletop and board games, like I'll be available. Any advice you have. For the audience, please, if you're ever in the Havelock area, 19 Park Lane, it's in the same mini mall as the Nightmare Factory. I don't know if you've been in that area, you'll be familiar with that. The haunted house that creates a huge, massive crowd out front of my store every October, and this annoys the hell out of me because I get the people coming in here in the store all the time. What is this place? Like, oh, if you have to ask that, it's not for you. Come on. So, just check us out. We're only open Wednesday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, though. So, it's a game store. I don't really need to be open all the time.
Well, Jesse,
right,
just real quick here. We have a couple more things in the chat. They said Billy Boy Yo said Star Wars for the win. Get you some 808 says Pats deserve to be a 79. Madden is crack. I'm addicted and I need help.
I'm a Jets fan. I grew up a Jets fan. I'm sorry. I was born that way. So, yeah. Down with the Pats.
Well, then I'm going to find someone to rate, and I'm going to cut over to our shoutouts page real quick. Thank you so much to everyone that has come by and given us so much support in these last months. It has just been outstanding, the support that we've received, and we notice. And for that, we want to thank you to ROE Gaming Havelock, and Just Joby Gaming. Go check her out on YouTube and see what she's doing, playing a lot of Animal Crossing. Hybrid ATX Summer Camp. If you're in the area of Texas, make sure you check that out or look at their website online. Our VIP fan for the month is Miranda Lorian. Our newest fans, we have our guest tonight, Jesse Olinger. I'm Dead Snake, Frotzer, and Uncle Kwame. Thank you so much for the follow. This episode and more are available on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. And from that, we are going to go ahead and start our raid. I'm going to find him. We're going to start raiding Sono Kid. He is playing Modern Warfare. Thank you guys so much. Oh, and by the way, before we hit the ending, we have a special music for y'all to listen to. Was made from a local guy here at Full Sail. Shout out to him so much for providing this media for us, and we hope you enjoy it. But thank you so much for coming by the show. Thank you to Jesse for coming by the show, and we'll see you next time.